Question 7. Find all the horizontal asymptotes of the function y equals 7 times the absolute value of x minus 3 over 4x minus 12. If there aren't any, write D and E. So once again, I would treat all D and E's as a potential red herring. It's highly unlikely that it is D and E. It occasionally happens, but it's much rarer than students think that it is. So first and foremost, when you see an absolute value in a question, you cannot do any algebra, you can't take derivatives, you can't do all the fun moves that you would like to do in that form. You can almost think of an absolute value as another type of indeterminate form. So the very, very first thing that you must do is address the absolute value portion of the problem and write it in a piecewise form. So the absolute value of x is the function x when x is greater than or equal to 0, and it is the function negative x when x is less than 0. So in order to find all the horizontal asymptotes, remember horizontal asymptotes only occur at the edges of the graph. It's the end behavior. So we must check both the left and right side of the graph. So if we check the left side, we take the limit of our function as it goes to negative infinity. Now, I'm not going to write the function as is because I know I'm going out to negative infinity, and negative infinity is clearly this portion of the graph. So when I write my function, I'm only replacing the absolute value with its appropriate piece. So that is negative x. The rest of the function you write as is. So then I'm going to do a cleanup step. And the numerator is negative 7x minus 3 over 4x minus 12. You have a couple ways you could deal with this. You could multiply by 1 over x over 1 over x. You could also recognize that this is L'Hopital form. So I'm going to take the L'Hopital form. So that's actually negative infinity in the numerator over positive infinity. So I'm going to do L'Hopital because this will be pretty quick. So we have the limit as x goes to negative infinity of negative 7 over 4, which equals negative 7/4. So if you get a real number, that means you have found an asymptote. Now let's check the other side of the graph. So when we check it from the right, well, numbers approaching positive infinity are in this region, right? So now I replace my absolute value of x with just x. And this is also an indeterminate form of infinity over infinity. So that's going to give us 7 over 4, and the limit of a constant is itself. So we have horizontal asymptotes at y equals negative 7/4 and y equals 7/4. And so if we look here, this is the choice that tells us we have both. So don't assume they're the same. If you didn't account for the piecewise, you might have come up with the wrong answer here, but this won't be the last absolute value we see on this document, and you'll see that I'm very consistent when I'm showing you how to do it, but you cannot do calculations with this in this form.